Good evening, and welcome to another episode of Que-stead-Que. What you gonna do? I don't know, but something's gonna grow. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Que-stead-Que. I'm here today to do the persimmon taste test, part 2, because the last variety of persimmon was called Fuyu, F-U-Y-U. Yeah, Fuyu. And this variety of persimmon is a new one that I've never tasted, and it is called honey. That's the name of the variety of persimmon. So I'm going to be doing the taste test, and I'm also on because I want to try out my new pause feature. I'm gonna do it a couple of times during this video, and we're going to see how that works. I want to see if it transitions smoothly into the next scene. But before I get to all that, and this won't take long, I wanted to let you know, y'all know yesterday's video, or was it the day before? I can't remember. I think it was yesterday. I did the video about the earthquake gift. Well, on today, I decided to call the USGS people again. I think that was 2 days ago when I posted that video, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. I'm confused. Okay. Anyway, I decided to contact them again regarding that gift. And so the man that I talked to, he filled me in on how there's lots of people who contact them regarding that. He said they have to weed out those who actually do predictions and those who don't. He said no one is ever 100% accurate. He said, but what they look at is the fact that a person, if you can tell that, or if it's something that indicates to you that an earthquake is going to hit, if you know the location, that type of thing, he said, then that is legitimate. He said, and that is a real thing. He said that some people, and I was told that the last time that I called them about 6 years ago, I was told that there are some people and animals as well who can actually feel this before it happens. And so that part I already knew, but he was very serious. I was telling my people on Facebook that he was very serious and official about the whole thing. So he had a few questions for me, and I'll try to keep this short. He had a few questions for me. And one of the questions was, first he asked me how long, I've been having this, and I told him, and then he went on to another question. He asked a series of questions. I'll skip all the preliminaries and stuff because I pretty much kind of explained to him. And then he was telling me about, how earthquake predictions work, and that they're actually, he said that they have to weed out individuals who have called to say, okay, I predict earthquakes. He said technically anyone could say, I predict an earthquake. He said earthquakes hit all the time, every day of the year. They're just not all reported because a lot of them are just tremors or they're at a small scale. He said they will report usually at a 2.0 or higher. He said then you might see something locally about that. He said it's actually those that hit 4 points and higher that usually make national news or, a broader scale of news. He said, so when people, say that I predict earthquakes and whatnot, he said, we don't take it seriously unless there's solid proof. He said, and usually, he said, we don't look at precise time because no one can ever tell you the hour, that it's going to hit. I can't say, okay, I feel like an earthquake is going to hit here tonight at 11 p.m. No one has ever done anything like that. It's just they're looking at the basic, that you can say, okay, I feel as if an earthquake is going to hit and why, and where and that type of thing. He said that we take seriously. He said, we have used people before in our research. And so anyway, so after he explained that all to me, he started asking a series of questions. And like I said, I won't get into the small questions. It was just basic information about where I'm from and stuff like that. And I told him I was very, very truthful. And so then he asked me if I had proof. I told him, oh yeah, I have a 13-year timeline of me predicting. I said, and everyone has been accurate. I've never missed. I said, there's some that I haven't, predicted. I said, but there's some, I said, but most of them that I have where I gotten the feeling and whatnot, I have predicted it with accuracy with everything but the time of day. I said the closest one I ever came to with time was the one in Alaska. I posted about that one within an hour of it hitting. I said, but all the other ones, it can take anywhere from days to months. None have ever hit like within an hour or anything like that. I've had a few to hit the same day, but I've never had any to hit as close in proximity as that one in Alaska that time. But I told them sometimes it take months. I said usually it's within the year though. I said it may have only been one or two that ended up hitting a year later. I said, but it's usually the location that I've said. I said, but for the most part, it's within, I said, usually it's within a month or a week or whatever when it hits. I said, it's something so close that it's no denying that when I get that feeling, I know, and then those who knew about it know. So he was impressed, so to speak. And so then he asked the other question, and I was actually going to ask him the question, but I was hesitant at first because I was like, this man might be thinking I'm a crackpot and he might be, I don't know what he's thinking here. So I'm not going to get too crazy into this. I said, but, whatever he asks, I'll answer truthfully. But the one question I wanted to ask him, but was kind of afraid and hesitant to ask, was about the savant business. I was like, I don't know what he's going to say. But he beat me to the point. Can y'all believe that? He said to me, the next question was, he said, I want to ask you. He said, have you ever suffered a neurological injury or a neurological, how did he put it? He said either injury, a disease, or what was the other thing? He said, or disorder. That's what he said. And I told him, yes. I said, in fact, I was like, I was going to tell you. I said, I have MS. I explained all that to him. And then I explained about when all this all this began. It was after my first attack. I was hospitalized, and I told him how I lost sight in the left eye and hearing in the left ear. And I told him that I had a plaque or lesion, as they call them, on my optic nerve. And I also had one in the brain on the 8th pons. And I said, I don't know what all that means. I said, but I was told by my neurologist that affects your hearing and your senses, taste, smell, and all that. And then I went on to tell him about some of the other symptoms that I've had as a result of that plaque. Like, for instance, I can sometimes smell smells that are not there. My brain is telling me that I'm smelling, and the main one is coffee. In fact, I had that symptom yesterday. It seemed like I was smelling coffee, freshly brewed coffee, and it's usually very, very strong to the point that it almost makes me nauseated, but there's no coffee brewing. And you all know, I told y'all I love coffee and the ice cream and all that recently, but I have not been around coffee, nor have I been around coffee brewing, although I did smell the coffee and the ice cream, but it wasn't strong. But I tasted it. And I was wondering if me tasting that ice cream coffee a few weeks ago, or last week rather, might have heightened that sense, to where on yesterday I started smelling coffee for no reason. So I told him about, the coffee smell. I told him that there's been other smells and sounds. One time I would hear like musical note sounds in that ear, and there was no music or musical notes playing. And so I knew, when I told my neurologist about that, because I was scared. I was like, ooh, I hope I'm not hearing voices, but I shouldn't be hearing anything, that's not happening. And my neurologist reassured me that because of that plaque leaving scarring, he said, you're going to get mixed signal. He said, so your brain is going to just, it may relay anything. He said that may relay anything to your brain. And so you think that this is happening when it's actually not. So thank God I don't get that too often, but every now and then I do. And like I said, just the other day, I was having the coffee smell, and I knew there was no coffee brewing. So I knew it was that symptom, and I just let it surpass on its own, which it did. Okay. So I explained all that to him, and then I explained to him, I said, and I feel that I'm gifted in some sort of way because of this. I said, my mother, I was just telling him the whole story, and I said, I know it doesn't make sense to you because it's a lot of things in one. And so he said, and so I told him, I said, now, what I'm starting to suspect, and remember, I mentioned it to y'all the other day, I said, this might sound crazy. I was like, but I'm starting to suspect that it might be something like savantism or whatever. I said, because, I've always read about savants. I said, but I don't really fit the peg of that. I said, because usually savants are, usually savants are, they have deficits so many that they can't function, but they usually have one specific thing that their abilities surpass all others. And it's supernatural, basically. I said, so I don't think I fit that category. I said, but then I was like, who knows? I was like, I've heard of, savants who, can do, things, but then yet and still intellectually they're fine. And so I said, in most areas, he said, there is such a thing called Sutton Savant Syndrome. He said, and you fit the category perfectly. And so I told him, I said, I've heard of that. I said, but I haven't really researched it or studied it. I said, I've read about different individuals who might have gotten a brain injury and then suddenly when they wake up out of the coma, they're playing the piano or whatever, or speaking a different language. I've heard of that. He said, that's what it is. He said, basically, he said, you could have suffered an injury. He said, some people have been knocked unconscious and then and have amnesia. And then when they come back to their regular senses, all of a sudden they have an extraordinary gift that they never had, never was taught, all that. He said, diseases and neurological conditions can cause Sutton Savant Syndrome. He said, and in you telling me what happened, he said, and guess what? He said, the one thing in common that you have with all the others that we have met with Sutton Savant Syndrome is every one of them has some sort of either injury or neurological deficit in the 8th and 9th pons. He said, first of all, he said your frontal lobe controls your vision. He said, so with you mentioning that you had a plaque on your optic nerve, he said, that's your vision. He said, and that's what connects to the 8th and 9th pons. He said, so although your plaque was on the 8th pons, he said the 8th pons is very close to the 9th. He said, so it may have spread to the 9th pons as well. He said, and that affects your senses, your olfactory senses, which I already knew. He said that affects taste, smell. He said, but both areas have to have the same type of either injury or deficit at the exact same time simultaneously for this to happen. And I told him it was simultaneous with me because I was hospitalized. I said, I woke up one day and was totally blind in my left eye. I said, and then I said, I didn't go to the hospital. I said, I called the neurologist. In fact, my mother did because I couldn't see, and set an appointment. And he said, if anything got worse, to go straight to the hospital, which I did because all of a sudden my hearing became real scratchy and I can't even describe it, but I ended up losing it. All of a sudden I couldn't hear out my left ear. And he said, I went to the hospital, they contacted him and they got busy right away, MRIs, the whole 9 yards. And so everything showed up. Now my neurologist still has my records. Thank God. So therefore, the man suggested that I contact my neurologist. He said, and have him to go through your records. He said, and he can actually, he said, once you tell him about what's been going on for the past few years, because I never told my neurologist, other than about the smells and stuff like that. He said, your neurologist will be able to zero right in on it. He may even do another MRI to see just how much scarring you have, and he may pursue it further. He said, and then you will get the official diagnosis. He said, or he may even refer you to someone who specializes in savantism or Sutton Savant Syndrome, and you can get he said, and if you get the official diagnosis, then you go on the registry. He said, because there's not too many with it. He said, he said, you would go on the registry. He said, now, he said, we discussed that. We were on the phone for almost an hour. So then he said, here's what's next. He said, now I need you to do that. He said, contact your neurologist about that. He said, just so that you can go further with it. He said, because I know that's something that you probably want to know, which it is. I definitely want to know. And if it is, I'm going to be humbled. Oh, man, I was like, I wonder what my mom would think about all this. But anyway, I would be proud, and of course I would tell y'all and keep y'all updated with it and everything. But here's the information that he gave me. He gave me the email address. There's this one scientist, and she was the one, it's a lady, she was the one who actually worked with the people who were able to predict earthquakes and stuff. The ones that, they use for research and things like that. And so she is now retired, he mentioned, but she still works for the USGS, and I think it stands for United States Geological, and I don't know what the S stands for. I have to look it up, y'all. I'm sorry. But anyway, she still works for them. And as a retiree, she works part-time. And he said, but she's the one who basically, he said, I usually take the calls. And once I suspect that the person who calls is legitimate in what they say based on what they tell me with the questions that I ask, then I refer them to her. And so he gave me her personal email address. He said he would be contacting her to let her know that she will be hearing from me in the next few days. Okay, and she will hear from me tomorrow. He told me what he wanted me to do. He said, I don't need all of your posts about earthquakes since you say it spanned back 13 years. He said the most recent. And I told him the most recent that I've done from the 29th of November up until all these earthquakes hit over the past few days. I said, that has been my most precise. And I said, it just took me to like such another level that it couldn't be ignored. He said, those are the posts that I want you to send her. So he's like, make a copy of your Facebook page and send them. So what I did was I just went to my Facebook page. I went back to every post and I snapped a photo of each one and I cropped it up real nice so that she could read my timeline from the 29th, saying that I was getting that feeling and everything all the way up to the quake started hitting. And I'm so glad I put my predictions in there. I said, I feel one's going to hit Hawaii, Alaska. I called 8 states or 8 locations out of the ones that hit. There's only 3 that have not hit. And I still say they're going to hit. I said Jamaica, Haiti, and I said Washington State. And so those are the only 3 that haven't hit thus far, but the rest of them have. And so I've got this whole timeline there, a whole paper trail with my predictions on the day, either my predictions happened either the day before or one of them happened the day of, the one in Alaska. I had all that, the whole timeline. Then I went into my explanation why I felt they would hit there and everything. He said, that's just what we need. So I'll be sending that information to her tomorrow. And he said, you will definitely be hearing from her. He said, and then, so in the meantime, I will keep you updated on that. So we'll let that go for now. I will not be discussing the earthquake stuff anymore until something spectacular happens. Then I will discuss it again because it's not something that I talk about it, but the only time I really discuss it is when it's happening or if I have the premonition or something like that. So at that point, so really you just hear me talking about it because all of the recent things that have just happened, but normally I don't even talk about it, not even on Facebook. Okay, so now I'm getting ready to practice the pause, and then I'm going to come back with the next subject, which is going to be really, really quick. I am back. Okay, you guys, I was supposed to get my CPAP supplies on yesterday, finally. So I got up early yesterday, stripped my bed, got all my stuff in the wash, put my new sheets on, put the new electric blanket on, which I must say, I slept like a baby last night. Oh my God, all I needed was a bottle. Woo, that thing felt good. My God, I wish I had done it 2 weeks ago when I bought the doggone blanket. That thing is going to make me hate seeing winter leave because I'm going to have to put that blanket up until next season. But I love it, okay? Oh, my God, I slept so good. Well, anyway, they were supposed to send my CPAP supplies. And my insurance pays for one mask every 3 months. So you get one new mask every 90 days. You get your headgear once every 6 months and a hose. But your mask and filter is like every 3 months. Why did they send me 5 masks? I should have only been receiving one. They sent me 5 masks and nothing else. So I had to call the place. So now I have to wait another week and a half because they didn't send the headgear. I was only supposed to get one mask. And he was like, well, just keep the rest. So here they are. And then I was supposed to get the headgear and the filters. And so I'm still stuck with that full face mask until I get the rest of the supplies. They made a mistake once again. Incompetence. Okay, I'm going to pause again and we will get the next subject is the taste test. Shall return. I am back. And here's the persimmon. Wait, while I was gone, I got up, got some water, drank it, and all that. Okay, so let's do this taste test. As you can see, this thing is, it's super ripe, okay? In fact, it tore when I took the sticker off of it. But I'm going to cut it on this side, and we're going to taste it to see if it tastes any different from the other persimmon. And as you can see, it is cutting so smoothly. So let's see what it tastes like, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. Excuse me, I did wash my hands, y'all. Have a bite. I'm going to smell it. It smells fruity just like the other one. I have a feeling it's going to taste the same as the Fuyu variety, but I like this. I already like how it just cut out of the skin. See? And I saw some persimmon recipes that you could put persimmons in yogurt and things like that. Oh, and let me pause you again because I want to try it with my cream cheese dip. Hold on, let me go get it. But I'm going to pause you while I go get it. I am back. Okay, I went and got it's called Marzetti's cream cheese dip. And I'm going to try that after I try the persimmon itself by itself. And this is what it looks like. And this is some good stuff, you guys. They carry it everywhere. I know Kroger's carry it. It is some good stuff. Let me set this. I don't want that top. Okay, so what else was I going to mention? Oh, before I start the taste test, I wanted to let y'all know. Okay, where is it? Oh, right here. Y'all, if you see any of this at your store where the bug spray is, I know I told you about it the other day about the fungus gnats, and when I saw that it kills the fungus gnats, have a good smell, so on and so forth. I'm telling you, it is the God's honest truth, okay? Get it. You want this for your garden because it's safe for plants. It's safe for all plants. It's safe for pets. It has a decent smell to it, and the smell dissipates within a minute. I mentioned all that. This stuff works. Fungus gnats were gone in 24 hours. I've even found dead fungus gnats, so that let me know that it works, okay? So, it could be for any bug, but fungus gnats, it works for that too. And you will not be disappointed. Okay, so let's try this persimmon, and then we're going to dip a little. Here, I'm going to just piece this. I'm going to taste one, and then I'm going to put some of the stuff on the other one. Okay, so let's taste it. I like it. I really like it. And it tastes different from, let me close my doggone robe. Sorry, y'all, I'm in my PJs because it's after 9 o'clock, okay? But it tastes different from the other one, but you can still, the fruit is there. It doesn't have that peach nectarine taste. It's just a sweet, soft flavor. I love it. So I will definitely go back to get some more. So let's try it with the cream cheese. Let's see how it tastes with that. It's a cream cheese dip. Okay, hold on. Yeah. It is delicious, y'all. And I'm not going to fool with it. I like it ripe, too. Oh, it's delicious. I almost like this one better than the other one. And y'all know I like the other one. So this is going to be a treat. So I have two of them. So look like Q's going to be going back to Myers. Wait, where's my towel? Looks like Q is going to be going back to Myers to get a few more of the honey persimmons. They cost $1. So I'll go next week, you know, and if they still have some there, they had quite a few when I went. So I'll go back and get some non-ripe ones. Believe me, I'm going to be eating persimmons until the spring of the year. So this is going to be a yearly treat for me, persimmons. Oh my goodness. And I'm definitely going to try to grow another tree. Okay, you guys, so I've been on here 25 minutes, so I'm getting ready to cut this. And I'm going to watch this video before I post it. I hope that everything was smooth with me pausing and coming back and all that stuff. We'll see. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching. Welcome to the new members. I see I'm still growing and everything. So welcome to you guys. And so blessed. I saw your video yesterday about the crocheting. Girl, yes, it's addictive. In fact, here's my project right here that I was telling you about. And I love those baby booties for the twins. And congratulations, too. I forgot to do that when I responded to your video. Congratulations on the twins. But anyway, this is the shawl that I'm working on with a lot of my old hoarded yarn. So this is the stitch. I'm just chaining two and doing a double crochet. So these little squares come out. And this is going to be a nice little summer shawl that I'll be wearing. Okay, so I will talk to all of you later. And may God bless you all. I'm getting ready to dig into this persimmon, y'all. I'm finna tear it up. I will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye, and may God bless you all.